Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome, new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to us. Subscribers, thank you for supporting us. Thank you. My name is Reverend Penelope Stewart. I run a chemistry Facebook page. Check out our services and our courses that we offer. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter also. Thank you for being here today. Remember, I told you guys that I would come back and I would talk about Obeah. Um, and if any of you done a little research, you know that Obeah is the most oldest form of occult in the world. Uh, Matter of fact, it is the first form of occult. That's what's so unique about Obeah. I started studying Obeah maybe 3 years ago. I don't know how I came up on the knowledge. I guess I was doing some occult studying, maybe. But I found it very interesting. I was drawn into it, especially when I found out that Obeah was the oldest occult practice in the world. And so I really wanted to learn more and more about the history of Obeah. It was also outlawed in Jamaica. So we're going to explore that topic too. It was outlawed in Jamaica. It's just that powerful. It's very powerful. I wanted to know what Obeah was because when I went to go look at Obeah and learn, I said, okay, I want to know, is there a book on it just to learn the basic of it? But there is no book on Obeah. That's something there is no practice out there, a book that can show you how to do Obeah. You would have to study all the occult books. That is what I found. I found a really good resource to find out more about Obeah. And they have books, all sorts of books free books online that you can read to learn Obeah. But you would have to study all those occult books. They have the lesser key, the higher key, the lesser key of Solomon. And then they have, what other book they have? The first book of Solomon, the second book of Solomon. They got all these different books. Occult books, and plus also the Hindu occult book. They have that in there as well. So you'll have to study all those Obeah books. All those occult books to learn about Obeah, because there's no real way for them to pin it down. Now, what I have come to the conclusion. This is me. This is my spiritual perspective on Obeah. Obeah is a power. It's a ashe, because you can use Obeah for in any spiritual practice. You see that in you can practice Christianity and empower it with Obeah. You can practice Kabbalah and infuse it with Obeah. It empowers it. You can practice Santeria and empower it with Obeah, because it's a ashe, it's a power as well. You can, and with Obeah, you can work with dark energy and light energy. You can work with both of them. And the thing with Obeah, there are no consequences behind practicing it on the dark side. They tell you, whatever you put out there, especially with that kind of stuff, you have to worry about it coming back. With Obeah, you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's something. You don't have to worry. It's very, and some of it is said too, that Obeah priest, the Obeah man or woman also learns about poisonous plants as well. So they learn how to work with poisonous roots as well. So, yeah, Obeah it is a very interesting subject. It is a very ancient form of magic. It is the most ancient form of magic. It is so old. But like I said, to study it, and I'll leave the links down here. I'll leave the resources, because I've studied the resources. I will leave the links down here to where you can go get the free books and kind of study. If you're interested in knowing more about Obeah, I'll leave a link down here where you can go download these free books and you can study Obeah for yourself. But like I said, it's very, very old. Obeah is a magic that has existed since the dawn of mankind. It has been with human beings in ancient Egypt, in classical Greece, and the first human societies on the African continent. Throughout the history of Obeah has taken many forms. Today it exists as a raw, pure, mostly untapped force. The mysteries of Obeah have been studied carefully by savants and scientists alike. None have completely unraveled its mysteries, but all have beheld its efficacy and power. It works, you know. Obeah is power. It is a belief in an African tradition, a human tradition. Obeah is Egyptian. Obeah is Ashanti. Obeah is Hebrew. Obeah is Jamaican. This is the first time we see the linguistic root of Obeah. The etymology of Obeah is Obeah, which means witch in Ashanti Twi language. Obeah were individuals believed to have special access to powers and secret knowledge. Again, I equate this with a shaman. Obeah to me was also too the first indigenous shaman. That's how I see. That's the way my spirit. That's how I view it. That's my perspective. But somebody else's perspective may be totally different. But that's my perspective. Okay. Two important distinctions between Obeah and the ordinary individual are the special pacts with the Obeah has with a set of two spirits. I thought this was interesting. Every Obeah has contact with two spirits, one an evil spirit and the other neutral spirit. Both spirits must be recognized and harmonized and controlled to keep the Obeah in good health. Now, you know why this reminds me of shamans? Because at some point, you have to face your shadow self. And the shadow self is the darker part of you. And by him saying you at some point you have to harmonize those parts that lives within the human nature. Okay, so that makes, you know, and that's what shamans have to do. I remember going on my shadow, embracing my shadow self. And it was very empowering to embrace the shadow self and do that inner work. A failure in Obeah man or Obeah to stay disciplined could result in the malevolent spirits take control of his soul and mind. This result can be mild or drastic. Now, the thing about that, this is a way of life. And you'll see that too if you're on a spiritual journey, if you did any healing. If you want to stay balanced, you have to integrate spirit into your life. It has to be a way of life. You can't just put your spirituality on the shelf and then just do all sorts of things that goes against your spiritual nature. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? The spirit has to be integrated into your life. You know, it has to be a way of life. That's what I've seen too. As you spiritually evolve, there's an integration period that takes place. So this makes sense. Obeah, sometimes spelled O-B-I or O-B-E-A-H or O-B-E-Y-A or O-B-I-A, is a system of spiritual and healing practices developed among the enslaved West Africans. Excuse me, this train is going by. I know that's annoying. And in the West Indies. Obeah is difficult to define, as it is not a single unified set of practices. The word Obeah was historically not often used to describe one's own practices. Some scholars, such as Diana Patton, have contended that what constitutes Obeah in Jamaica has been constructed by white society, particularly law enforcement. Different Afro-Caribbean communities use their own terminology to describe the practice, such as science. Among the Jamaican Windward Maroons, Obeah is similar to other Afro-American religions, such as Palo, Haitian Voodoo, Santeria, Hoodoo. In that, it includes communication with ancestors, spirits, and healing rituals. Nevertheless, it differs from religions like Voodoo, Santeria, in that there is no explicit canon of gods or deities that is worshipped, and the practice is generally an individual action rather than part of a collective ceremony or offering. Variants of Obeah are practiced in Bahamas, in the Caribbean nations, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Vincent, Grenadines, Suriname, Trinidad, Tobago, the Virgin Islands, as well as the Igbo people of Nigeria. And in some cases, aspects of the folk religion have survived through syncretism with Christian symbolism and practice introduced by the European colonials and slave owners. So like I told you, you can use Obeah, you can see it in some of everything. It's such an ancient, it's so ancient, like I said, they say it's very difficult. And I think it has something to do with primal man, the primal mind, the primal spirituality of man, something that's already there but needs to be tapped into and explored. But you also have to go. They say that you have to be initiated into being an Obeah priest. That's what they say. But I find that hard to believe because most Obeah men and women, they live a solitary life. So I don't know, let me just continue with my research. Any man or woman can learn Obeah. However, Obeah cannot be self-taught. There is no self-initiation in Obeah. A key component of Obeah is initiation. This is what connects us with the spirits that we work with and with our ancestors. You may already have many connections built with spirits and your ancestors. So this is certainly not to say that you cannot work with spirits or your ancestors without Obeah. But you cannot work with the energy currents and the rituals of Obeah without proper initiation and instruction. To attempt to do so will either result in failure or disaster. So there you have it there. I don't have any comments on that. I don't know what to say about that. Like they said, it's a different energy. It's a different energy. But like I say, the people in the mounds, the mound people, as I began to read this book, this is not a really good book. I don't recommend this book at all. And I had to really be objective when I read, really extremely objective, because this person that wrote this book was racist. And so I had to really be objective while reading this book. But I grabbed little information out of this book while I was reading. But the author here he's a very racist individual. But I grasped a little information out of it as I read it. So the author also reveals in his book, between his racist views, that the people that built the mounds were also practitioners of some form of Obeah. So that was interesting for him to say that in this book. I don't recommend the book. I'm not going to even tell you the name of the book. But I saw that, I caught that in that book. Obeah is for a solitary practitioner. It is for people who prefer to work and develop their spirituality mostly alone. Obeah men and women almost always work alone, or in some cases in partners of two, or in agreements between masters and apprentices. There are no Obeah covens. Traditionally, Obeah has been hereditary, with parents teaching children. There are in fact Obeah services where many people participate. In Trinidad, we see many elements of African Obeah, Mayal ceremonies in modern Carnival. But the vast majority, see that again, just by the Carnival, because these were West Indian people. And they're also connected too. They can trace their descendants back to the mound builders. So that was interesting. That was very interesting. But the vast majority of work done in Obeah is performed by a single man or woman. Many of the things you would do on a day-to-day basis in Obeah would be done by yourself. For this reason, you must know how to self-motivate and stay on top of things. It is said that no man chooses Obeah. You are born an Obe man or woman. You simply are not yet aware of it. An Obeah man or Obeah woman is entrusted with the secrets of this magic that cannot be crossed or exposed. They are sworn to secrecy by the higher realm under their practice, which other magical or occult forces cannot gain access to. That's why I say you have to practice, and I'm gonna leave a link here. You have to practice so many forms of magic, or study so many forms of magic, to really understand Obeah. I'm gonna give you a link to that site so you can see that. Anyone that enlists in the practice of real Obeah man or woman can be assured that most uphold the highest level of integrity and with their magical powers to complete your need or request. Obeah is a magical occult and should not be confused with witchcraft or any form of sorcery. Its power lies far above that of other African magical powers such as voodoo, Santeria, Palo, etc. Yes, yes. This is a very powerful practice. I will leave some links here. So you can study it for yourself. You can look at the links here, and the links are it's very helpful. And like I said, those books are free, so you can download those books for free. Really good books. You can download for free, and if you're interested in Obeah or anything like that, it's a very interesting subject. And like I said, I bought this book right here to do more research on it. And I got it at Walmart. So if you see that book at Walmart called Obeah, do not get this book. It's not a good book. I do not recommend this book. Okay? But I left some links down here for those of you that are interested in knowing more about Obeah. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed our discussion on Obeah. And thank you so much for being here with me today. Light and love, may the ancestors be with you.